This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
Hello everybody, while we are waiting for everybody to get their copy of Oathsworn so we can do our live campaign, which we are going to do, and we're letting everybody kind of get ahead a little bit. We are going to be breaking down today the Priest. With a difficulty of 2 to play, he is a must-have for your free party. He has enough power, but he has that healing ability, which is really crucial in very crucial moments. So let's go down to the table, take a look at his cards, and then we'll come up and we'll talk a little bit more about the Priest and how he really helps out and works very well with certain characters. And hey, without further ado, let's go down to So if you're going to play this fantastic character, of course you are going to be starting off with the Great Maul and the Pig Armor, which is absolutely fantastic, of course. Of course you have your die up to 6, your defense, which is at 3, I believe, because the Pig Armor. You Animus, you're going to have a max of 8, but you get to regen 6. So as you use these, let's just go and we'll put our 6 there. And then we have our fantastic character, another fantastic, beautifully done model from our friends over at Shadowborn. They did just such a fantastic job with this. Now this character is, you know, you would think, okay, Priest is going to be a weak character. No, this Great Maul that you start off with really gives you a lot to start off with. When you critical during an attack that hits, add +2 damage and 2 knockback. So basically you're doing 2 damage. If they can't absorb that, they're going to get, not only are they going to get knocked back, and if something's there, that's going to do an additional damage with minions such as these here, the rats. So we're going to aim and hit this particular thing. We're going to do 2 damage to it and knock it back 2. So it's going to go boom right into there, and what that's going to do is an additional damage. They have no defense. You start knocking out combinations of critters. Okay, that's just with the Maul. Now when we start taking our cards, our 7 starting cards, and that's what we're going to look at, the first card is 0, goes into the 0 slot. So you're going to pay it, but it's going to cost you whatever Animus that you happen to use at that particular time. Okay, the first one, it's going to cost you, it's expensive to swing with. So you would need 3 to do a hit. Okay, and that's just to do an attack with your Great Maul. Fantastic, great, no problem. Okay, the other thing is your battle flow. Okay, battle flow. You're going to get 1 to battle flow your cards. Now, if you remember, anytime you put a card down, when you use a card with a number on it, such as this one here, you can use another card and pay 1 extra. If you wanted to use this particular card in the slot, a little expensive, we'll talk more about that in a minute, you'll be able to battle flow it and then be able to pick it up that following turn, which really works for you. And then refresh your might decks, which is always helpful. And here's one that really helps. This gives you no defense, additional defense. So this card really isn't a defensive card, but it can help you out. 1 adjacent character gains 1 health and you lose 1 health. So if you have enough health and you know you can heal yourself back up, it's okay for you to drop down a health, and maybe you have a partner that is desperate and needs help to absorb. It's a perfect time to use that, and it has a cheap cost. Oh, excuse me. The next card in our 1 slots, and as we were just about to take a look at, is Righteous Advance. Okay, pay any amount of Animus, move 2 for each paid. So this can get you across the battlefield pretty quickly. This movement must be in a straight line. So if you want to really haul here, and you've got your main villain here, and you need to do things that you've got the Animus, well, you're going to move 2 for every Animus. and that's going to get you across the battlefield quickly to help maybe a compadre or such. And this also can be used as a very expensive attack. It's going to cost you 3 to attack, but you also can use this as a defense and add 1 to the defense. The next 1 slot card is Pillar and Path. Now, what I mean by 1 slot card, this is going to go in this slot. This is slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, and you have to flow these all the way to here and able to pick them up at the end of your turn. You know, I would love to have a bigger sheet, okay, but they did put these helpful cards, these player aid cards, which are very, very good. Okay, I don't want to cut them any short. They have all your tokens on it, and then on the other side, how things go from your refresh phase to your Oathsworn phase, encounter phase, and then your end of round phase. At your end of round phase, that's what you're going to be. You are going to be picking up any cards that you need. Okay. Okay. So our next card we're going to talk about is Pillars and Path. Gain either, okay, and this is where this comes in and helps us here. It's going to tell you right here, a redraw. Used during your attack or check or redraw, meaning your cards, or re-roll, depending if you use the dice, but most of the time you're going to draw those cards. You could redraw 1 might card. Okay, that's cool. And like I said, you know, if you are able to count those might cards and you know that there's nothing bad, you can always pay that other card that we talked about, the 0 card here, to refresh that might deck and reshuffle that deck. You could pay 2 and then do your battle and say, okay, I'd rather take a better chance at that because I've already had my big heavy cards come out, and I know that there's no more in that deck. I want to refresh it and I want to be able to use it with my righteous advantage. Okay, which is another, my Pillars and Path. That is going to help you because you're going to gain and be able to use that token. And then you can either use that to gain a redraw card, or you can, of course, use your defense. You can get a defense token, which would help you, and this card also only gives you 1 defense. Okay, let's put that down there. Now let's take a look at our 2 slot cards. Our 2 slot cards for the priest. Prayer of Protection. Before damage is drawn against a character, before damage is drawn against a character within range 3, you can play this card. It doesn't cost anything, but you're going to lose it for the slot. That character gains 3 defense against the damage, but you lose 1 life. So you're sacrificing your life to help the people around you, which is very key. This is also can be used as an attack at a 2. So it's a lesser card, but you're going to lose this card for a couple turns because you have to be able to battle flow it back into your hand. Then, of course, here you can just use this card as an additional defense for yourself, which is very, very helpful. But remember, this would go into the 2 slot right here. Another one is Desperate Prayer. Select a friendly character within range 3 and perform a basic check. The difficulty of this check is equal to the character's health plus 2. Okay, so you would have to do that check. For each success, they gain 1 health. If they gain any health, you lose 1. A maximum of 1 redraw can be used on this. Okay, you can use this for that, or you can use this as a swing, and it's only going to cost you 2 to swing with it, and then you would get 2 defense from this as well. Okay, now we move up to our 3 slot cards. These are the hardest to get around, but usually the most powerful. Okay, Fend. After you or an adjacent friendly character has damage drawn against them, ignore one of the enemy's might check cards against you, or that character, your choice. That's a great card. This attack costs 2, and then you get +2 defense. And then finally, the final 3 slot card of your starting cards, Weight of Glory. Okay, knockback 2. Remember what we talked. Knockback is a very powerful weapon when you are fighting minions and the boss as well. With a knockback 2, you would knock back a big boss only 1 because everything is divided into half. If the target collides with anything during knockback, one character within range gains 3 shield. Within range 3 gains a shield. That's really, really cool. And plus you have a 2. Now as you start adding cards, you are going to have the advantage of adding cards in. And we're going to take a look at some of those cards that you are going to be able to add in from the first slot cards. And then we'll work our way up to the 2 and the 3 cards. Okay, now these are really good, like Blessing. 2 friendly characters within range 4 gain a redraw token, and then they also can draw a empower token. That's where you change and upgrade your dice a little higher, or cards up to a higher standard, or a shield. Very cheap, has a 1 slot and only costs 2. Animus, very good. And this one only costs 1 to just attack with, and 1 shield. Very, very good card. Zeal, you can get that later on. If this attack hits and you draw 2 of the same number on your might cards, you may attack again immediately after damage is done. That's a tremendously powerful card if you are able to do that, because that really, really can hammer a slot on a boss, or really take out a bunch of minions that you are trapped or being dragged down or slowed up with. This effect cannot be triggered more than once per use. Okay, that's fine, but still 1 defense that you're going to get out of there in the 1 slot. 2 slot, transfiguration. I'm going to leave it at that. It's going to cost you 3. It goes into the 2 slot. Remove up to 2 adjacent minions from the game board. They do not count as being killed for the purposes of encounter special rules. That's excellent. If you are trapped by a bunch of minions, you can get rid of a couple, and this could really help you later on. This also has a 1 Animus attack cost that you can use, and this would give you 2 shield. Okay, now we're going to head into our 3 slot cards, which is Sanctify. 2 knockback plus 3 empower. This attack targets all adjacent enemies. Attack once and apply to all targets. If you cause any of the enemy to lose any health, you also lose 1 health. All right, not that bad. Lose 1 health to give any character on the board 1 health. This costs 3 Animus and 2 defense. There we go. That's the secondary ability for it. Expensive with 4 Animus though. Holy Warrior, cost of 3 Animus. Goes into your 3 slot as we said. This attack only misses on a 3 or more blanks. Okay, so this is actually really good, because normally you miss on a 2, now you would miss on a 3. So if you want to play that and ensure that you hit, especially if you're jacked up and in a position to do some damage, this is a card that is absolutely going to help you with 2 shield. Vitality Aura. Select any amount of other Oathsworn allies within range of 4. Perform a basic check with a redraw. The difficulty of the check is equal to the total health of all selected characters plus 2. For each success, all selected characters gain 1. If anyone gains any health, then you lose 1. So you lose 1. A double attack here for a cost of 4 as a secondary ability and cost of 2. And then Martyr, 0 cost, but it goes into the 3 slot. This could be very, very powerful and help you. Force 1 enemy within range of 6 to focus on you rather than their current target, especially if somebody's down low, that can help you. The stage card is I gotta turn that on. Resolved with you being the target of that enemy. This one gives you an attack of 2 and then 2 defense, where some of the other cards will give you higher defense, such as with the Warbear. These pretty much give you some basic defense. Your card here, if you want to take him as an ally, again, it's giving you all the same powers on either side, depending on the cards, of course, and these can be very, very critical and work out very, very well. As we said before, during a turn you can only pick one or the other on a particular thing. This is going to be your starting. You're going to get Desperate Prayer, Pillars of Path, just like we Desperate Prayer and Blessing on your starting card, your starting basic card. Again, everything. When you play this as a character, you are only going to have 2 Animus, and it's only going to cost you 1 to move for, 1 to attack, and then 1 to cost to use a special ability. So you have those things, of course, and of course you will have your starting weapon of that Great Maul, which will give you additional power and dice to hit and crush your enemy, which, hey, isn't that what it's all about, folks? So in a nutshell, that is what the priest does. He does a fantastic job, and it is a fantastic, he is a must for your free company. I really feel that if you are going to go in a party, he's going to be able to heal, but most importantly, he can do some damage. Okay, doesn't have a high defense, but you are able to adjust your defense in certain ways, heal yourself, heal others, and do damage along with a couple of the more higher powered characters to help get you where you need to be depending on your situation. A great character to bring with your free party. Let's go up top and get my final thoughts. Well, there you have it, everybody. The Priest, and that was one of my favorite guys to paint. I had such a good time painting him. He was a lot of fun, and I include him almost on every single party. Whether I take, I feel that he really works well as more of a player than a companion. Because of how his beginning cards work, he's either he can really help you out in a jam and get a critical hit when you need it most. He has the power to do that. But when things start going wrong, you're not drawing cards right, and you start taking on damage, that's where he bails you out. If you keep him out of the fray, he's able to heal and get back a couple of points that you may have lost early on, that you really need late to take out that villain. He works great with the Warbear and the Exile. I think he's an excellent partner for those two, and they really pack a lot of punch together, and I really like what they do together. It really helps the Exile who wants to go in there and just throw a beating. Another great character by probably one of the games of the year. Let's call it what it is. This is such a fantastic game, and just a great game. And until next time, my friends, sorry for a little bit of noise. It is your